guard and just play to my strengths right now, and hopefully just not have to have me. I'm in an emergency center at this point, so it's.
But I mean, why couldn't a guard make the call?
Oh, well, we all do. The biggest thing is it's a mic point. So he's basically he's the conductor and we're the orchestrator. So he'll call the initial call, and then we'll call all our calls based off that. I mean, we all do know, especially me and Grant, Colton, and Yadney, the guys who played a lot, they're been here a while. We know what to look for, what to expect. So we don't necessarily need Matt to make those calls, but it's his job. Basically, it's by default. He's ID the front, give us a mic point, and we make the calls off. But there's a lot of times where I'll come up to the line and I'll just make my call. I don't even need to hear the mic point.
What about, with the all Big 12 team? I was shocked that you weren't on that team.
Yeah.
Does that give you any motivation?
I'm very blessed to get the Outland nod on that watch list, and I'm very blessed that last year AP and ESPN picked me as the first team All Big 12. And if the coaches poll don't really want me to, that's none of my business. I don't really care, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Okay. All right, buddy. Yep. Thank you.
You mentioned that you're an emergency center. Just how difficult, in layman's terms, is it to guard the snap?
It's one of those things. Either you can or you can't. It's I'm not going to say that if you put me in against Virginia Tech right now, I'd be perfect. I'm sure I'd have a few wild ones every now and then, but you just kind of naturally can pick it up or you naturally can. It's kind of like learning to ride a bike. If you can do it once, you can do it twice. So that's kind of the best way to describe it.
What's the added communication like with the quarterback from center? Is it any different than playing?
It's a little bit different. I mean, obviously you got to snap the ball on his cue, and you got to make sure that you're really honing in on where everything's going. So if you got a tight end on the right, you got to listen to where the tight end's going and make your calls accordingly. So it's just like playing guard or tackle. It's another niche basically that you need to really understand the play center.
Coach Babineau had said he puts a little more on the quarterbacks than what Dana did. Does that change anything for you guys as offensive linemen as well?
A little bit, not really. Last year, we had T.O., and T.O. was one of those guys that he got into a stance, and he could basically drop the front with his eyes closed. So he didn't need to rely on the quarterback as much to really check fronts and re-ID. But with Will coming in, he's a very experienced guy. He's very knowledgeable, so we can rely on him more to re-ID things, check things. So it's not as much pressure on Matt Jones. He's kind of just getting his feet wet. But Matt's doing a heck of a job. He's definitely redirecting and putting us all in the right place at all times.
So right now, in terms of the next week or so, what's the goal for the offensive line? What do you want to see over the next 5 days?
I think the first week of camp, especially in college, is that it's basically just get your feet wet and kind of just trying to move in the right direction. Nothing's going to be perfect. Never will be, even when you're playing with, we get the Dallas Cowboys online. Guarantee you go in their meeting room, somebody's getting, ripped for doing one thing that wasn't picture perfect. But my goal for us at the end of this week is to have our base packages down, our base plays down, and our technique moving in the right direction going into week 2.